Hi, posted earlier about my son's suspension and no help. Then I realized did not put his gamer tag on the message. I am black. V is his gamer tag. Would it be helpful if someone could enlighten me as to why he has been suspended until the 31st of December 9999 without notification?
Your son was exposing himself on camera in Uno.
This may or may not come as a surprise, but I'm something of a Uno video game connoisseur. And while there are certainly more inventive takes on Mattel's classic card game, Uno for Xbox 360 wears the crown as the most essential adaptation of them all. So today, we're going to revisit the Xbox Live Arcade version of Uno. I'm going to tell you why it's the best, why it was successful, and we might even decide once and for all whether or not it came with your fucking Xbox. Carbonated Games developed the Xbox 360 version of Uno alongside two other versions, one for MSN Messenger, which released around the same time, and one standalone Windows version, which never saw the light of day. The team at Carbonated pitched Uno to their leadership at Microsoft, and for a couple of reasons, the software giant wasn't too hard to convince. For one, the team had already gotten Mattel on board in advance, but it also helped that Carbonated pitched Uno as a testing ground for multiple upcoming Xbox Live features. Uno was designed from the ground up as a social experience, aiming to capture the real reason that people played Uno in MeetSpace. That meant voice and video chat, and in the case of the later cancelled Windows version, it also meant crossplay via Games for Windows Live, similar to what would later be seen in the 2007 Shadowrun game. Of course, the game's social features are a huge part of why it's remembered so fondly, but before I really delve into them, I want to drive home how strong this version of Uno's core gameplay really is. It feels strange to praise the game feel of an 18-year-old adaptation of a card game, but it's far smoother than any other version I've ever played, and that smoothness did not come at the cost of features. There's a beefy list of house rules and settings to tweak. It seems like every single person played Uno differently growing up, but chances are you can configure this version to play like what you're used to. Now, it's not exhaustive. It lacks the 7-0 rule, among others you'll find in the modern Ubisoft-published version of Uno, but even ignoring the fact that Ubisoft Uno is a clunky piece of shit, Microsoft Uno more than makes up for its shortcomings by the sheer volume of tweaks and quality of life features available. Uno for Xbox 360 also has a comprehensive custom match filter and game browser, which, with this many house rules, is an absolutely essential feature and one that's missing from modern iterations. Xbox 360 Uno also offers ranked multiplayer matchmaking, for some reason. This is, as far as I'm aware, the only version of Uno to offer this type of mode. Ranked Uno is like ranked rock, paper, scissors. The whole point is that it's a game anyone can understand, play, and win, because it's mostly up to chance. Assigning a skill rating and expecting people to take it seriously is a bit silly. Of course, thought and design went into making sure the more organic parts of Uno, like actually calling Uno or challenging bluffs, were properly translated into software, so there are some gaming quote-unquote skills that are applicable, but it's also simple and elegant that going into detail would feel a bit ridiculous. You aren't meant to think about the mechanics of Uno that much. It's not that type of game. Instead, and much like its real-life counterpart, Uno for Xbox 360 is meant to be a simple, lightheartedly competitive vehicle for social interaction. Every aspect of the software is angled towards its chat features, which you'd expect from a developer that got its start making games for MSN Messenger. Standard voice chat is supplemented with excellent support for the Xbox Live Vision camera, a little USB webcam which, all considered, provides very clear video for the time. Uno's UI is almost completely designed around this camera. Pre- and post-game lobbies double as full-on chat rooms, even in public matches. When you play a Draw 4, you can see your friend react like if you were playing Uno with them in real life. Modern Ubisoft Uno does feature video chat on some platforms, but I've never actually seen anyone use it, and even if they did, it's only for your friends list, which, obviously, I know why. Turns out, including unmoderated video chat in the family-friendly card game was a bad idea. 2006 was very much still a Wild West era for internet chat rooms. All sorts of unspeakable and probably illegal things have been broadcasted to these little 1.3 megapixel cameras, but understandable safety and marketing concerns aside, it's hard not to miss how much more social online gaming was in the early Xbox 360 era. And while far from the most innovative use of the Vision camera, Uno is certainly the most well-known. Uno's video chat still functions, so if you by some miracle know people who still have these things kicking around, I encourage you to boot it up and engage in some late 2006 roleplay. In late 2008, following the release of the new Xbox Experience update, Uno received a patch incorporating the new Xbox 360 avatars. By default, any place gamer pictures would have appeared now show your very own personalized avatar instead. One of my favorite things about this feature is that it really only could have been done this well on Xbox 360. Like, yeah, Microsoft very clearly made these to capitalize on the viral popularity of Nintendo's Mii's, but since almost all of the Xbox 360's features can be very easily integrated into games, Uno doesn't even mind if you have custom clothes from the marketplace. Here's my avatar rocking her Halo 3 tank top. It's a small thing, but it's just another trait of the Xbox 360 and of this game that give it an overall feeling of completeness and polish that's missing from even the newest iterations of both. In addition to downloadable games, another pillar of the Xbox Live Marketplace was downloadable content, or game add-ons, as the Xbox 360 rather quaintly refers to them. Uno received 4 add-ons in the form of theme decks, 1 free deck, and then 3 priced at 150 Microsoft points, or about $2 a piece. Each deck features unique music and visuals, as well as a bonus command card with its own unique rule. Now, these are all long delisted, but the good news is if the host owns them, or otherwise has access to them if you get my meaning, everyone in your lobby can play the DLC. So to get footage of the Vision camera in use, and to test out all of these decks, I called upon Derek from Stop Skeletons from Fighting, because he's the only dude I know who both definitely had a Vision camera lying around, and who I was sure would be down to put it to use in 2024. The Uno 35th Anniversary deck was available for free and featured a confetti-laden background and big 35th Anniversary branding all over the cards and playfield. The whimsical and chilled-out jazz soundtrack of the base game is replaced with a more upbeat, celebratory track in the same sound font. This deck's command card is simply called 35th Anniversary, and when played it disrupts normal play and goes around the table until someone can play a 3 or a 5. Anyone unable to do so has to draw a card and miss their turn. In all, not bad for a free DLC. I did find the party music got grating after a couple rounds, but as a free way to mix things up, you can't go wrong. The 3 paid decks are each based on a different Xbox 360 game. The first of these released in September of 2006 and was based on Project Gotham Racing 3. The apron underneath each player's hand has been given an automotive carbon fiber finish, and the center background rotates between different screenshots of PGR3's locales. The cards themselves feature art of the game's cars, as well as icons from PGR3's loading screens, representing things like drafting and passing. A tire screeching noise plays whenever you draw, and there's an animated tachometer on each card which revs up and makes an engine noise when they're played. That second part gets a little obnoxious after a while. Perhaps it would have been smarter to restrict them to just wild cards or draws. The unique command card is called Gotham TV, which was PGR3's replay sharing system. It's a normal wild card, but before picking a color, you get to peek at another player's hand, adding a nice little bit of tactical intrigue to the Uno formula. Like with the 35th Anniversary deck, my only real complaint is that the singular music track grows annoying in long sessions. It's the main menu theme from PGR3, which I do like, but it would have been nice to have something a bit less repetitive, or maybe a second track from the game. The Cameo theme deck, released a couple months later, is surprisingly my favorite of the 4. Even though I've not played a meaningful amount of that game, it sort of wins by default, simply because it has a music track that isn't distractingly upbeat or repetitive. Instead, it's got a very serene and pretty track, perfect for chill vibes and not interrupting conversations. We once again have a static background, but when you change the active color via number matching, the placemat under your hand changes to reflect the element of the monster on the card. I could do without the wizard chiming in to say the monsters' names, especially given that this doesn't really have any effect on gameplay.
Chilla.
The command card is called Whatnot, and it allows you to swap hands with any player you'd like and change the color.
I have some information for you.
One that's in another store nearby that
Well, that wasn't a bad performance.
Whoa.
I really like this one, actually. It's a bit strong, could maybe do without the color swap functionality, but as it stands, it's like a less disruptive version of the 7-0 rule. This is probably the only theme deck I see myself playing for more than a few games at a time.
Fight!
Last up, Street Fighter II Uno, released in 2008. It was designed to celebrate the release of Super Street Fighter II Turbo HD Remix on Xbox Live Arcade. The Hadouken command card is inventive, to be sure. When played, it forces a player of your choosing to draw cards until they can block or jump. That is, until they draw a skip or reverse card. Unfortunately, the card tends to muddy the turn order, and I think it just generally interrupts the flow of gameplay. It's a shame because the idea is cute, I just think it would have been better if it wasn't targeted, and instead worked like a normal skip or draw 2 card. Further, there's something that completely spoils the entire deck for me. This deck gets on my nerves so fast, especially since I'm not a fan of classic Street Fighter. I don't want to play in silence, but I don't want to hear this for 45 minutes, so this isn't one I plan to play again. All 4 of these DLCs were delisted along with the game, so they're basically unobtainable unless you've got a modded 360 or are playing in an emulator. While I will be playing more PGR3 and Cameo Uno at some point, I don't see any of these as good replacements for the comfortable neutrality of the standard game mode and music. But they are at least neat diversions. And speaking of diversions, I'm fresh out. I guess I can't put this off any longer.
You have Uno, you fucking dick! I don't have it, you fucking faggot!
You know, it seems this video resurfaces every few months, and yes, it is hilarious, but I think there's more than that to this meme's staying power. It's that Modern Warfare 3 party screen, the god-awful Xbox 360 chat bitrate. I think all of us had or at least witnessed shouting matches like this on Xbox Live back in the day, and... Alright, you think you can handle the truth? Are you sure? Because there's no going back. Don't say I didn't warn you.
It's a fucking card game! They don't even charge people for it!
But they did! I'm Jehovah is so loud and insistent that he bought his Xbox on launch day and got Uno for free, but he fucking didn't. That's impossible. It was given away for free as part of the Xbox 360 Arcade bundle in 2007, where it was included on the Xbox Live Arcade compilation disc, but at any rate, there are 3 options. Jehovah could be lying for the bit, knowing full well he paid for Uno, or maybe he got his Xbox sometime during or after the holiday of 2007, but that's over 2 years after he says he bought it, and besides, it's on a disc, and a memorable one at that. It's unlikely he'd remember that bundle is providing a free download of Uno. The third and most likely option is that he Mandela'd himself. There's a precedent to this, actually. Folks on the internet swear up and down that Xbox 360 memory units came bundled with Uno, but they only ever came with Worms or Geometry Wars. And the launch Xbox 360 did come bundled with Hexic HD, another one of Carbonated's games, which was and still is available for free. I have spent hours crawling the internet trying to figure out if Uno was ever bundled with anything prior to that 2007 compilation disc, and I found nothing. It wasn't until days later, when looking for DLC release dates, that I discovered a comment on the Delisted Games website mentioning that Uno was bundled with the Xbox Live Vision camera. That lines up. The Vision camera came out a couple months after Uno, and less than a year after launch, but I wasn't able to find any retail packaging for the Vision camera that mentioned Uno on the box. Eventually, though, I found this. The 12-month Xbox Live Vision Gold Pack. This $80 bundle included a year of Xbox Live Gold, the camera itself, a chat headset, 250 Microsoft points, Robotron 2084, and Uno. That is the only scenario where a downloadable copy of Uno was ever given away for something that could be described as free. So, there you have it. That's where the meme began.
Is this going on YouTube?
Look, I love this game, and I really hope that's coming across in the retrospective. For my money, it's the best version of Uno put to software, and the second best Uno video game ever made. But that's a story for next time. As for Carbonated Games, well, their history is weird. It's full of conflicting online sources and lost media. I wanted to talk about it in this video, but the story just kept growing and growing to the point where it was impossible to work into this script without completely derailing the intended topic of the video. So, I've uploaded that part of the script as a lightly edited bonus video for patrons. If you want to hear about Carbonated, how they came to be, and how they helped shape the Xbox 360, consider supporting me on Patreon. Starting right now, $1 a month gets you access to bonus videos. They won't all be scripted content like my mainline videos. I have plans to do magazine scan readings and demonstrations of weird retro tech and networking, but when combined with past and future recommendations, sneak peeks, Q&As, and more, I think I'm finally giving my patrons something worthwhile and something worth subscribing for. And before I go, I can't forget to thank Derek from Stop Skeletons from Fighting, Fami, Racevic, Mechasalt Man, and all my other friends who helped me with various parts of this video. I seriously would be absolutely nowhere without them.